Zachariah says, "Hey, Zach, what in the world is happening with Lamar Jackson? It's the middle of July, and he's about to go into training camp on his fifth-year option with no extension. This is absurd, right? I don't believe there's ever been a player on a rookie contract to win MVP, then walk in free agency. Will Lamar be the first? Will Baltimore pay him, or will he request a trade like Orlando Brown and Hollywood Brown? If he does not play for the Ravens after his rookie contract, where do you see him going realistically? And where do you see him going that would be the best fit?" Okay, first of all, I cannot imagine a scenario where the Ravens allow Lamar Jackson to leave their franchise. It's just not going to happen. I just don't see it happening at all. But let's have a little fun for a second. Let's imagine that the Ravens are idiots and they don't keep Lamar Jackson. They let the guy walk away in free agency. Where would it be fun to see him play? Well, I think about my pie in the sky dream scenario is, can you imagine Lamar Jackson in Miami? He went to high school north of Miami. They're his hometown team. And then Mike McDaniels, the offensive head coach there, is a genius when it comes to run design. He's really good at designing running plays. And so let's say Tua doesn't work out in Miami, and then somehow the Ravens are dumb enough to let Lamar Jackson walk away. I would give almost anything to see Lamar Jackson play for the Miami Dolphins for Mike McDaniels. That would just be a blast. I hope that happens. I think it'd be incredible. It's not going to happen, but you ask me where could he go that would be fun. That's the team that comes to mind right away, is I want to see Lamar in Miami. Now, he's not going to leave Baltimore. The Ravens are not going to let him leave. They'll franchise tag him. They'll pay him. They'll keep him happy. I think what's happening right now is they're just waiting to see how the year goes. They're in no hurry to pay him a big contract. Remember, Lamar Jackson is more accomplished than Kyler Murray. He's actually won a playoff game. He's won an NFL MVP. But the weird thing is you can actually argue that in spite of that, Kyler Murray might be a better passer than Lamar Jackson, which is weird, but also true. And like I said, there are more quarterbacks who are going to be paid soon. At some point, Joe Burrow is going to get paid. Justin Herbert's going to get paid. And I really didn't like the way Kyler Murray begged to be paid. So, putting out a statement, scrubbing his team from his Instagram. I thought Lamar Jackson has done a really good job by just letting his play speak for himself. Hey, I'm going to win NFL MVP. Hey, I'm going to beat the Titans in a playoff game. So I think Lamar has done everything he can to earn a contract by playing really well on the field. But there's a couple things that are going to affect his negotiations that are interesting. Remember, he got hurt last year. And so the Ravens, if they want to, could say, well, you got hurt last year. We don't want to pay a guy who's injury prone. I'm not saying they will say that, but you could make that argument and it wouldn't be entirely crazy. Then also, remember, the Ravens just traded away his top receiver, Marquise Brown. And by the way, when I say injury prone isn't crazy, I'm saying it would make sense for the Ravens to use that in negotiations where they are trying to use everything in their power to not pay Lamar Jackson $300 million. Like, they're trying to do what they can to reduce the cost. So in negotiations, they're going to use something like, hey, he got hurt last year as a negotiation tactic. Now, here's another thing that really hurts Lamar Jackson. Like I said, they just traded away his top receiver, Marquise Hollywood Brown. So on paper, I think Lamar may not have as good a year this year as he's had in recent years because the receiving core around him isn't as good. The job is harder for Lamar this year than in years past. And so we'll see what happens with Lamar. I think they're waiting to see if anything happens that reduces the cost because the Ravens just really are trying to not have to pay Lamar the biggest contract in NFL history. But what's really bad for them is that Kyler Murray got, $230.5 million, and he's not even ever won a playoff game. When you look at what Lamar has done compared to Kyler, Lamar Jackson is way, way, way more accomplished and way more deserving, in my opinion, of that much money. So I think Kyler Murray getting paid just really, really screwed the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to have to shell out a lot of money to pay Lamar Jackson if Lamar wants that much money. If I'm Lamar, I like take $200 million. I don't take a little less so you can have better help. I think every quarterback, the thing I don't connect with this generation of quarterbacks, the thing that I don't quite understand about this era of the NFL in general is quarterbacks getting paid, like 100 times more than their running back. Like insane things like that where, your running back's getting paid a rookie contract for 4 years, then getting cut, and you're getting paid $230 million. It's a bit uncomfortable for me. I would have a hard time making that much more than everybody else in the building. I just would be like, man, I would really want the people around me to get paid. Like I'm telling you what, man, I would want to win a lot of games, and I'd say, hey, how do we get this receiver? Can I take a pay cut so we can pay that guy? I would do that in a heartbeat. And this generation of quarterbacks is, there's a different mindset here where they just are all about getting paid as much money as humanly possible. And it's hard to nag on that, but money's never been I've turned down a lot of sponsorship deals because I don't take, gambling sponsorships at all. So I've never in my career been like a mercenary and just taking the money. And some of these NFL quarterbacks, man, they just have different values than me apparently because they would rather make bucket loads of money than win football games, it seems like. And that's not a comment on Lamar Jackson. Actually, if anything, it's more of a comment on Kyler Murray, who I have a hard time connecting with now that I don't know why you needed that much money when you haven't really earned it and you kind of had to beg for it. I respect the way that Lamar Jackson has handled everything, where he just keeps balling out. He keeps playing really well on the field, and he hasn't made any crazy, drastic moves to request a contract or demand anything. And he's made it clear he wants to be paid, sure, but I think that's just because, like I said, it's like Zachariah said in the write-in on Patreon, it's pretty absurd that Lamar Jackson is entering the last year of his rookie contract with no extension when he's already, again, he won an MVP and a playoff game by 23 years old. That's way weirder than Kyler Murray's situation. So I hope Lamar Jackson gets paid. I hope he gets paid generational wealth and never needs to work again after football, and his kids don't have to work and his kids' kids don't have to work. But it is still weird for me. Like I said, this generation of quarterbacks, the focus on money seems to be way greater than the focus on even winning. And I just don't quite connect with that.